Welcome to this KoboldTouch feature special. Today I'd like to tell you more about weak typing built into KoboldTouch. Now, what is weak typing? Normally it means that the type of a variable is undefined. You don't have to declare the variable as being an integer or a boolean or a float or a double. But in KoboldTouch this goes a bit beyond that, because you can also create variables just by naming them. Just give them a name, and you can also access variables without having to have declared them. That means in weak typing in KoboldTouch you don't have to declare an IVAR to use it. You don't have to declare a property to use it. You also don't have to synthesize it. And this works with all integral data types, like boolean, integers, floats, doubles, you name it. Now, the benefits of weak typing are obviously simplicity. It's almost like a scripting language. The other benefit is automatic NS coding. Each weakly typed variable can code itself into an archive and decode itself from an archive. So you don't have to write any extra archiving code to support NS coding. And finally, automatic type conversion is done. Once a weakly typed variable is created, it retains its original type. So if you create a bool value and then later assign a float value to it, it retains the bool value and it converts the float value to the bool type. Now, how this works is very similar to KVC and KVO. This is key value coding and key value observing. You've maybe seen this on Apple's documents, or maybe you've actually worked with it. In KoboldTouch I use KT mutable number for storing these variables. That means all number or all values, all variables are actually mutable, so they don't allocate a new object, you don't release a new object every time you change the value. This is an important difference to KVC and KVO in Coco. And this feature is built into all KT model classes, which is the base class for all models you are going to use in KoboldTouch. Let's look at some examples. For example, if you were to read a null value, a value that hasn't been defined before, what happens? So in this code example you have yes sir as the key for the value, and you are trying to get the bool value for that specific key. Now, we haven't created this variable yet, so the answer is always a safe default value. It doesn't crash, it doesn't return nil, it returns the safe default value. In case of bool value, that's no, and in case of all other values, that's of course 0. So let's assign a value. Again, we have our yes sir key, just to make sure that we are using the same key for all assignment and access. And using the setBool method, we can assign a value. In this case, we set the bool to yes. And once that's done, the bool value with that particular key exists, and in the background the mutable number object is created and stores that value. And now we can access it again with bool for key, and the answer will be, of course, yes. Now, what happens to type conversion? So let's assign the value 0.98765 to the bool value. So what do you think is going to happen? Internally, this value is converted to a bool value. This means that the float value we pass in is cast to bool, which results in a truncation to no in this case, because it's less than 1. And so the return, the answer will be 0.0. Now, what's the use for weak typing? It's very beneficial for prototyping, where you basically quickly hack something together and want to get things running as fast as possible. And the other thing is, of course, you don't have to change any source code. You don't have to declare properties, you don't have to declare IVARs. And this is especially important where you have already set up your classes, your controllers, etc. You can actually go in and say, take the model of another controller and assign a certain variable to that controller and establish a data exchange this way. Or you could save global variables in this way to the game controller without having to create your custom or a custom game controller model. So it's pretty easy to do, and it's just the simplicity of it that's so beneficial. And in terms of performance, some may be wondering it's a minor overhead compared to regular property access. It's really minor. It's just another dictionary access, and that's very fast thanks to NS Dictionary. Thanks for watching this KoboldTouch feature presentation. I hope you see the value of weak typing, and if you do, go to www.KoboldTouch.com and check out what KoboldTouch can do for you.